No, fans, it's games like this that used to get me over-medicated.
You're listening to Sports Zone.
Just a bit outside.
Where real guys talk sports.
So, does that mean we can compare Tony Romo to Dan Marino being best regular season quarterbacks to not win championships?
I mean, I would still take Romo or Marino over Romo, but it would be, yes, they would be pretty much very similar categories, to say the least.
Because it's funny, a lot of people that are older than me tell me Dan Marino's the best quarterback ever. I continuously hear that. But it's funny because my man didn't win a ring. So how can you be the best ever at something and not have a ring?
Well, then maybe that means Drew Brees is now the best ever because he broke Marino's record.
He broke his record.
He has a ring, right? So, look, you know what? The whole argument of who's the greatest quarterback ever and all this junk, I look at it like this. Talk to me when you get rings like Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw. Mainly Joe Montana. Because most people will tell you Montana led that team to those rings while Terry Bradshaw was helped out by a lot.
Yeah, that's true. And Pixel wrote, ask Patrick Ewing, no rings. Ask Barkley, no rings.
No rings for either of those guys, man. But they got gold medals.
They do.
I agree with you. I think that's one of the hardest things to look at. Patrick Ewing, to me, arguably one of the greatest centers to ever play the game, including college. He was a freak in college. DJ R&B, welcome to the chat room, man. How you doing? But I think that's one of the hardest things that's got to be as an athlete, to know you were one of the best ever, to make the Hall of Fame, to do all that stuff.
But you didn't get a ring.
But sit there and look back on your career and say, I never won the big thing. It's so depressing, to be completely honest with you. And I think that when you look at it, how do you deal with that? Like, I don't know how I would deal with that. I don't know if I'd be able to be okay and just be like, well, I gave everything I had and we just weren't as a team good enough to win, because no individual wins rings.
No,
okay?
And I get that. But LT said it best. LT said, I'd rather make the Hall of Fame than win the Super Bowl. And I think that's a little crazy. I understand, because the Hall of Fame is heaven for a sports athlete. It's your ultimate goal. It means you are the elite of the elite.
Yeah, it's your crowning achievement to a hard-working career of saying everybody in the world recognizes that you were one of the best ever to play this game, and now you get to be put in a hall filled with a whole bunch of the other best evers to play in this game.
But if you don't get a ring, I kind of feel like, congratulations, you were a great player, but you didn't make your team that much better. And I can't even say that because Ewing made the Knicks so much better. Barkley did. I don't know how I'm really trying to say what I feel. And I don't want to get in trouble for what I say. So you know what? I'll just shut up.
I think it's just hard, dude. Look, I think that when it comes down, I'm sorry, I got Pixel saying Ewing had the Twin Towers to deal with, and then Duncan in a stretch. Oh, my apologies. I misread how you wrote that. My apologies, Pixel. I got where you're coming from. I'm sort of with Sarah, though, Joey. I like the idea of you saying what you want to say. I don't know who you're going to get worried about getting in trouble with, but,
I just don't want to sound stupid. That's all.
It's
because
all
I know
good.
Ewing made the Knicks better, and Barkley made the Suns better, and the Sixers and things like that. But if you're just in the Hall of Fame without a ring, it's just...
Doesn't have the same
pizzazz.
Yeah, the same pizzazz. That's the perfect word.
It doesn't have the same bling to it. I don't know.
You know what? I actually have to agree with you. Who put the picture of the little
Jeremy.
kitty? Jeremy, you're sick.
And
yeah, look at Bill
ridiculous.
Russell, 11 rings. But that's just that's player and coach, and he was a freak in nature, and that's the reason why the MVP award for the NBA Finals is the Bill Russell Award. I think that Russell obviously set the standard. Phil Jackson set the standard for coaches and championship rings. Before him, it was Red Auerbach. I think that getting a ring validates what you did.
That's how I feel about that.
The Hall of Fame is your second opportunity to have what you did validated.
Correct.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Correct.
I think that would be the best way to look at it, is that when you win a ring, it validates all the hard work that you and your teammates put together in the season to get to where you got to. When you get to the Hall of Fame, it validates all the hard work you put in as an individual to make yourself and the people around you better. So I think that each one is great. If you can get both, even better. I mean, let's be honest. There are a lot of guys out there that have championship rings and Super Bowl rings and NBA rings and the whole nine who will never sniff
The Hall of Fame.
the Hall of Fame. Okay? There are a lot of guys that are like that. You know, I mean, let's be honest. There are 4 out of every 5 offensive linemen. You can't name them, and they were on
Yep.
Super Bowl winning teams.
I
you
know what you mean.
It's just how it works. You know, you look at an NBA team. The guy on the end of that bench and the 4 guys sitting to the left of him,
They matter.
They will never make the Hall of Fame, but
They'll help you get a
They'll help
championship.
you get a championship, and they're going to have a ring to look at when they're said and done with playing the game of basketball.
Yep.
It's just how, rings sometimes, let's be honest. We graduated high school with a kid that has a Super Bowl ring, and he never stepped on a football field after high school.
Well, the more and more I hear about that, I'm told it might be a bluff. But,
Oh, really?
I'm told it might be a bluff, but we won't go down that road. We'll save that for a beer.
Yeah, me and you. Yeah, I'm with you. I feel you. We want to talk bad about old friends. Kid was a good kid. We'll leave it at that.
We'll
He
leave it
always
at that.
was. He really was. So, I think KGM threw in there mentioning something about wanting to talk Giants.
Look how
And
he's getting excited about
I
the
don't even
Giants.
know if KGM's in the chat room anymore. I think he had to get going. So, I know we got Giant fans in the chat room. Yeah, boom, Pixel. Bills Jim Kelly never got a ring. Yet Jim Kelly, arguably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play a game.
Thurman Thomas.
Thurman Thomas.
Bruce
was a
Smith.
Freak. Thurman Thomas was so much fun to watch play, it wasn't even funny. He was such a freak. Chris Mullins, Sean Kemp, Tim Hardaway, Dikembe Mutombo, Reggie Miller. Boom, Storms with a list of NBA players. Somebody compared Blake Griffin to Sean Kemp.
That's pretty
They
good.
said, they said he's the Sean Kemp of his era. He'll never be able to lead his team to a championship. And I wanted to write back, remember the Seattle Supersonics that lost to the Chicago Bulls?
Yep.
Don't get mad at the teams that had to deal with the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls, okay? They couldn't do anything about it. It was not their fault. Okay? It just wasn't. You can't hate on, those Miami teams with Tim Hardaway and Alonzo Mourning. They were great teams. They couldn't get past the Knicks because the Knicks were a great team. But they couldn't get past the Bulls because the Bulls were the greatest out of all of those teams that were playing at that point in time. 6 championships in 8 years. That's what they did. I mean, how are you going to, you can't, Patrick Ewing not having a ring to me is one of the best examples. The man was a freak of nature. He had every opportunity he took advantage of every opportunity he was given. He couldn't win. They didn't win the big game.